What's going on, everyone? On today's episode of The Power of Options, let me show you some stuff. I traded SPY today and I traded Roku. I have another nice green day. Three separate trades. One of them is red, and the red one is only for $6. Let me go over that first. So we have a pivot level, a pivot level here on the SPY. And we'd failed, and as we came back up, I told myself, okay, I want to try to short this. Maybe we'll get a move back down towards the lows of yesterday, or maybe this gap fill. I was taking tomorrow's contracts. So it started to work initially, and everything looked good on the hourly chart as well. On the hourly, at that time, we had come up. We had tested this candle, the close of the candle, and then started failing. So honestly, I thought we would go in here and then fail back all the way down to these moving averages. That's not what happened. I did add one extra contract in here, and I got stopped out somewhere in here on this for break even. So that's why you have to have your stops. With options, it's very, very easy because they're so liquid that you can easily put your stop at the correct risk. Now let me show you here. These are the contracts, like I said. I bought it pretty much right at the top, like shorted it at the top, so bought the puts at the bottom. It started to work. I was up 50, 60%, nowhere near my target. I added once, and then I had to stop out for break even. And you can see how liquid they are. So I would take a peek at options if I were you guys, and stop chasing this low float junk. I digress. So the SPY did stop me out in here, came back up to pre-market highs. It's kind of chopping around, and also chopping around is really not good for the option premiums. It tends to reduce their price, of course, if you don't get the move. So even if you had calls right here, if you didn't sell them up here and it comes back down to here, even though this is higher than it was here, the calls will probably be worth the same amount of money because the time that has passed had just kind of chewed them up. I'll show you that on the 334s here. And then we'll go over my Roku trade. I'm still in Roku. It's super frustrating. It's just barely moving. And I keep going from like in the money to break even to in the money to break. It's just, this market is just doing this right now. It's just up, down, but like the average is just straight across. So these are the 334 calls on the SPY. As you can see, you got that nice push here up into the dollar range from 80 cents, 75 cents. But on that dump, you came right back down to 72 cents, right back down to this level here on the contracts, even though you made a much higher low on the SPY here by 20 or 30 cents. So something to keep in mind in options. On days like this, it's not as good to trade, but you still can make some money. So Roku. What did I do on Roku? I was buying this double bottom right here, and I got filled somewhere in this range, 125, 124.50, and I just held it. I was never down past my risk, and then I started selling as we came up towards pre-market highs, and then I sold the last one at this pivot level right here. In retrospect, or in hindsight, I did sell a little bit early. I should have held a little bit longer or sold less of my contracts earlier. So let me show you the power of these setups. So this one was a very, very simple setup. This is why I like using higher time frames. At the time, we were double bottoming on this time frame. So I knew in my head, if this worked and we didn't move down towards the lows, we would have a quick snap back up towards these moving averages on the higher time frame. Because right here, we were down here. These moving averages were up here. And from that, I can gain targets. Now I can look at the chart and I can say, okay, this is my target. Or what I said is this high right here is my target. So higher time frames are always a much better way to trade. Like if you're on the 1 minute, like I used to do in low caps, Okay, so we have a level here. This is the double bottom. Technically, we've confirmed under the double bottom, so you should be shorting it right here. And then you get your face ripped off, and you have no freaking clue why. And it's because the higher time frames have more precedence, because people with a lot of money trade on the bigger picture, bigger time frames. They don't care about the 1 minute. They're not going to put hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars on the line on a 1 minute setup. They're going to trade stuff like the hourly. They're going to trade stuff like the daily. Just the bigger time frames like that. Sorry, I am freaking exhausted today. So, anyways, I'm still holding on to my swing for Roku. So right here I picked up today's strike of the 128s, I think. Yes, 128s. And I was selling and working a core. I was adding down here, and then I stopped out, and I added once more down here. I'm still holding that piece for a move closer up to these levels. And yesterday, or not yesterday, I don't know why I said yesterday, I took the swing for next week, the 135 calls, because I believe that next week, if we look at the daily, we could have a breakout of this channel, and I think we're going to head up towards this level here, or potentially this level here. So I also have a 135 call for next week. It is well in the money, and that's pretty much all I did today. So in terms of what I think you guys would find useful today is look at these bigger time frames, right? Like, I was buying off the hourly chart. This is where I was adding. As this candle came back down and retested this candle's high, this candle's high, this candle's close, I'm looking at the bigger time frames. I'm buying into that, hoping that as we curl back up, I can get a nice sell, hopefully this afternoon. Like, this thing, I'm still in a little piece of it, and I just want this thing to frickin' break out already. Hopefully by the time I post this video, Roku is up towards 130, or at least 129, 129.50. I will take this last contract off. As you can see, like I said, I was selling, I was adding, I sold, and then I stopped out, and then I retook the trade. Beautiful entry down here. And now I'm just waiting for this to come back up. So those are my trades. You guys have a good one.